I'm Dan Larson, and there's a lot more Star Wars movies than there used to be. Captain Obvious at your service. For 16 years, Star Wars fans sat quietly and watched while Star Trek racked up sequel after sequel. Star Trek 4, Star Trek 5, Star Trek 6. That changed in 1999 with the release of Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Since then, there has been a steady stream of Star Wars that is, today, still accelerating. Disney is committed to alternating chapter films and standalone films on an annual basis. With a new movie being released every year, what can we expect next? I have some thoughts for The House of Mouse.
It's hell on earth and the city's on fire. In hell,
Solo, a Star Wars story, is the latest chapter in the Star Wars franchise. It fills in many of the details that have been hinted at over the years. The circumstances behind his childhood, how he met Chewbacca, what the Kessel Run was really all about, and the most important question of the entire saga, what goes here on the Falcon? It is fair to ask the question, did we need a standalone Han Solo origin movie? As well as, did we need to know anything else about Han Solo that we didn't already know? Could a film change our perception of who he was in a meaningful way? Would knowing how he became the character we knew change our understanding of the things we already know he did? Is there anything to add to a character whose purpose in the overall story has already concluded? And those questions can be applied to any and all of the standalone Star Wars films that work to fill in details prior to whatever is happening in the chapter films. Having personally encountered Star Wars for the first time during the original trilogy era, waiting for the prequel era to finally catch up to a movie that came out in 1977 was a study in patience to test a very dedicated fan. At the end of Return of the Jedi, I wasn't concerned with what happened before all this. I already knew. Let's move forward. I walked into Solo with a lot of baggage, a lot of apprehension, and a lot of questions. I didn't mean to. I genuinely tried to leave it all at home. I wanted to give the film a fair shake on its own merits, the rest of the franchise be damned. But I've seen too much already. I've been hurt by having pre-existing expectations going into Star Wars prequels before. Hey, I enjoyed Rogue One. Rogue One told the story of the rebels who stole the Death Star plans that had previously only been mentioned in the opening crawl text of Episode 4. Rogue One temporarily sold me on the idea of these standalone films, even if they are prequels. I liked that it focused on characters that I had never heard of before, whose fates were not already predetermined. I liked that it wasn't dealing specifically with the Jedi or the interpersonal relationships of the Skywalker family. It's a really big galaxy. There should be lots of interesting stories to tell that are totally unrelated to the 12 core characters from the first 6 movies. Yeah, some of those core characters have to make appearances. They don't have to, but I understand why they do. You gotta put them on the poster, sell some toys. It's a little insurance policy to make sure enough butts hit seats. Rogue One was a temporary victory for standalone films because it was going to be an ongoing effort to convince me that standalone films had any merit whatsoever. Just because I enjoyed Rogue One did not mean Solo was a lock for a thumbs up.
I wanna but I'm broken-hearted. Cry, but I like to party.
Solo was attempting to do something different, something more like what the prequels themselves did, and that was potentially changing the characters as we knew them to be up until now. Any number of things could have happened in Solo to recolor Han's motives, to remove some of that mystery, which can all serve to make him less interesting. In theory, there were no more Han Solo stories to tell because as of the release of The Force Awakens in 2015, Han Solo is dead. And despite my initial reaction to the announcement about a solo Han Solo movie being, but I was willing to give the benefit of the doubt that there could be a good movie in there if the right idea, the right script, and the right production team were brought together. At the end of the day, I just like Star Wars and want to see more of it. I didn't have to finance it, and if it succeeded or failed, the net change in the quality of my life would be absolutely zero. I didn't think a movie about the Guardians of the Galaxy could even be good, so I'm willing to admit that other people can have good ideas and tell good stories when I personally don't see the potential. But who even knows what good is? How do you define that? It varies from person to person. I like robots and spaceships and laser swords and magic and giant space monsters and jetpacks and cool helmets. But I also like mystery and drama and comedy and music and toilet humor and superheroes and talking dogs and documentaries. And you can't put all of that into every movie every time. Movies are a lot of creative decisions and story choices that all add up to a thing that may or may not be what the creators intended to make in the first place. And if I, a viewer, a fan, have a hard time defining what good is to me, I can't imagine how hard it is to try to make a movie to try to please me. But here's the thing, Rogue One and Solo pushed my buttons. Expectations or not, they worked for me as entertaining movies. So entertaining that I was able to set aside all of that stupid mental and emotional baggage and just have fun being at the theater and enjoying the experience. I have thoroughly enjoyed the new era of Star Wars since the release of The Force Awakens in 2015.
I don't want to walk this earth if I gotta do it.
Should we have any more prequels? Do we need any more standalone films? If they're going to be as entertaining as Solo, then yes. Why make a Boba Fett movie? Why make any movie? You want to tell a story and you want to make some money. I'm down for whatever character film Disney wants to roll out if it's going to be as entertaining as the first two side films have been. Yes, Boba Fett, let's do it. Here's the pitch. That guy that went into the Sarlacc pit wasn't actually the Boba Fett because that guy has been dead for 20 years. The guy in Empire was actually the fourth person to wear that armor. Each person makes changes, but benefits from the reputation, the legend of the previous wearers. Whoever wears it next has extra badass cred because the legend says he survived the Sarlacc. That suit is the only reason Fett has ever been popular. Make it the focus. Obi-Wan Kenobi standalone, I'm down. Ewan is still 20 years younger than Alec Guinness was when he played Obi-Wan in Episode 4. Let's not make the same mistake we made with the original trilogy cast and get him in some Star Wars stuff now. There is ample storytelling room for Obi-Wan after he drops Luke off on Tatooine with Owen and Beru, even without leaving Tatooine. But he's gotta stay on the down low. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Undercover Knight, is sitting right there. The need to fill in every single detail of every single character, happening, or event in the timeline is not a quality unique to Star Wars, but Star Wars is pretty good at it. And at times, those times being now, when a new Star Wars movie is coming out every single year, that can be exhausting. But it can also be a heck of a lot of fun, and there's no such thing as too much fun. Star Wars is the canvas. Let's get all kinds of different voices in here to tell some stories. Comedy, horror, rom-com. I'm down for whatever you want to do, wherever you want to go, as long as it's in a galaxy far, far away from here. Thanks for watching. Please hit like, hit subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. I just totally zoned out for a second there. I know, yes. Hey, oh, what are we doing? Thank you for watching. Please hit like, hit subscribe if you're not already a subscriber so you don't miss out on any of our videos. If you're in the position to help the channel grow, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/toygalaxy. Share this video with like-minded video enthusiasts. And let us know down in the comments below what your elevator pitch is for a standalone Star Wars movie. Boba Fett, Obi-Wan, Blue Snaggletooth? It's basically Blue's brothers in space. Blue Snaggletooth is Elwood, regular Snaggletooth is Jake, Chalmun's Cantita instead of Bob's Country Bunker. Where do I pick up my check?
Lucasfilm.
Lucasfilm?
Cut.